You can do everything you have to do in this spirit. We live in a world where almost everyone believes that something is wrong with them, that they ought to be more this or less that, less anxious, less angry, less human. And so they go chasing endlessly after some future version of themselves, always just around the bend, where they finally get it. But I'd like to suggest that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you at all. Your very being, this moment, this breath, this strange and sacred sense of I am is already perfect. You're not something apart from nature. You are nature, just as much as the stars, the ocean, and the clouds. The truth is, you are all already an extraordinary phenomenon of the universe. You're just like that. And that is enough. One of the most extraordinary realizations, you didn't come into this world. You came out of it just as an apple tree apples the universe peoples. And you are one of those people. You are this place, its eyes, its thoughts, its wonderings about itself. Most of us were brought up to feel separate, as though we're tiny egos trapped inside these bags of skin, looking out at a world that's over there full of objects and others. But that's a trick of perception, an illusion of language and labeling. In reality, there's no line where you stop and the world begins. You are not a static thing. You are a verb disguised as a noun. A whirl of consciousness, feelings, memories, all shimmering like light on water. When you were born, the universe didn't make a mistake. It was expressing itself as you. No one else has your exact rhythm, your exact voice, your particular pattern of laughter and silence. But here's where the confusion sets in. From a young age, we were taught to override that naturalness, to conform, to behave, to achieve, to become someone. And in doing so, we began to believe the greatest lie of all, that we are somehow not enough. But tell me, have you ever seen a flower straining to bloom? They unfold because they are that unfolding, our nature playing itself out. You are not a problem to be solved. You are an event of the cosmos, as marvelous as the stars, and just as inevitable. Now, I know when someone says, there's nothing wrong with you, the conditioned mind resists. You might think, but what about my past, my failures, my guilt, my habits, my shame? You see, from the very beginning, we're handed a story. That being alive is a test. And so we become actors in a theater of self-improvement, constantly fixing, adjusting, striving as if life were a ladder to climb rather than a mystery to dance. The meaning of life is just to be alive. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the sensation of being, the aliveness that is present before any opinion or judgment arises. That is you, just the raw, open presence of being here. What could possibly be wrong with that? Look at the clouds. They drift, they swirl, they form and dissolve. Is there anything wrong with them? No one scolds a tree for growing crooked. We human beings somehow believe we are the exception, that we alone must justify our existence, that we must earn the right to be. And this is the root of our suffering, the original illusion. The truth is, your imperfections are not mistakes, echoes of your particular music. You don't need to become worthy of life. You are life. So instead of chasing some polished idea of who you ought to be, what if you simply noticed who you already are? Right now, without effort. There's nothing wrong with you. There never was. You're not that thought. You are the silence behind it, the spaciousness that watches it come and go. And once you see this, there's a direct experience. Something inside relaxes. You begin to remember something ancient and true. You are nature wild, vast, unfinished, and beautiful. And you are just like that. When I say you don't need to do anything, I mean something far subtler. You don't need to strain to be what you already are. You don't push the river, you float with it. Because the river is doing the flowing, not you. Life is living itself through you. Birds don't sing to impress. They sing because it is their nature. You don't have to force meaning or chase purpose when you stop trying to manufacture it. The art of moving with the current, and when you discover that rhythm, then the dance begins. Most of us spend our lives trying to be ourselves, but the moment you try, you've already lost it. Because the self is not something you can grasp, it's something you relax in. We're so busy asking, we miss the very thing we're looking for. The ego, trying to polish itself like a stone, you begin to laugh. Because you realize the one doing all the fixing is the very thing that doesn't need to exist. You don't need to become yourself. You already are, right here, in your quirks, your flaws, your silence, your breath. Authenticity isn't something you try to achieve, it's what's left when you stop pretending. And that is freedom. We have to look at something very peculiar. You didn't invent the image you have of yourself. It was handed to you, built out of glances, comments, expectations, like a mirror made of other people's thought. The moment you were old enough to speak, you were told who you are. What's acceptable, what's not, what earns love, and what doesn't. You began to shape yourself according to the reflections around you. You became a collection of borrowed ideas, stitched together from parents, teachers, religions, and then one day you start to feel tired, not physically, but existentially. That's the moment, that sense that the person you've been performing as isn't the one who's actually alive in there. The most dangerous thing you can do is believe your own role. But it's not you. You are what's playing the role. You are the actor, not the mask. You become the good girl, the strong man, the productive adult. The real task is to see through the performance, to recognize that it's just a costume. Because the one underneath, that's the real you. The one who doesn't need to be impressive, who isn't worried about being liked. That one, the silent, observing, breathing aliveness behind all the stories, was never broken and never needed fixing. It only needed remembering. Awakening is not a matter of adding anything. It's a matter of subtraction, of unlearning. Like a muddy pond clearing when the stirring stops. Simply allow the mud to settle. And in that gentle noticing, you begin to feel it, a quiet hum behind your chest, a spaciousness where the need to become finally dissolves. So then, how does one live like this, without all the grasping, the fixing, the polishing? Well, like the sky. The sky doesn't hold on to the clouds, doesn't chase the sun or argue with the storm. It just lets things pass through. And you, if you stop clinging so tightly to your story, can live like that too. Because once you realize you are the sky and not the passing weather, you begin to trust life more. You no longer believe you need to. When you stop pushing so hard, you can actually hear it. When you stop trying so hard to live the right way, you begin living the real way. More wonder, less control, more play, less proving. Because trees don't strive to be trees, and waves don't try to crash correctly. They just are. And so are you. That strange and wonderful statement, there is nothing wrong with you at all, as a radical, liberating truth. You are not something broken that needs to be repaired. You are in this very moment an unfolding mystery, a brief song in the great silence. And if you can see yourself in the right way, as a phenomenon of nature like fire or clouds or galaxies, you will see you were never separate. You were just like that. Not perfect, but whole. Drop the pretense. To breathe in and simply be. Because once you stop chasing after some future version of yourself, you realize you've been home all along. In your own quiet presence, you exist. And that is quite enough.